Hey folks, Rob here bringing you another video. This is going to be a kind of biscup stream here on my son's place, so don't have my usual setup. But what we're going to talk about is the historical ASL rulebook that just dropped last week. And what we're looking at right here is version 3.01. And it's important for a couple of reasons why you get 3.01. And the biggest one is because they've fixed the hyperlinking now. So the earlier versions don't work. What you need to do is you need to have two versions of the rulebook and the historical rulebook all in the same folder location. Just let me bring that up quickly, show you what I'm talking about. Um, all right, so you need to have the eHASLRB and you also need to have the eHASLRB. Both versions need to be in the same folder directory, and then the hyperlinking will work. If they're not in the same directory, it's not going to work. And it's quite simple to use them when you go into one of the historical books, or if you go into the rule book itself and you click on one of the hyperlinks, you can see that any time you have a letter in front of a number, it's referencing a different chapter of a different book. And if you click on that, you can see it turned into a hand symbol. And when you click on that link, it's going to open up the other book. So you can see right now we're in the electronic ASLRB. We are no longer inside the hassle. Now there's a bit of a a minor thing, if you care about that kind of thing, is you've now closed the historical book and you're now in electronic rulebook. So if you want to go back, there's a little button here. It's called go back to your previous view. If you click that, it'll take you back to your historical book. Now, the way you find it in Adobe Acrobat is if you right click on your toolbar and you go display tools, you can, or should say, excuse me, navigation tools, you can select your different views and you can pop that up in your toolbar. So it's a quick way to bounce back and forth. Or if you want to do it the old fashioned way, you can just have both your files open. That's the way I like to do it. And that way you can just bounce back and forth manually. You don't have to use the hyperlinks. That's the way I like to do it, but I'm old school. I'm old fashioned that way. I'm not necessarily super keen on going through the hyperlinks this way. But again, it's up to you how you're going to do it. So let's look at the electronic house rulebook and see what we're going to get. So looking at the table of contents, you can see it covers quite extensively the all the historical modules that Avalon Hill did in the 90s. And then when MMP took over around 99, 2000, they've covered everything since, including Slaughter at Bonnery, which came out this year. You have DZ, Saint Marie Glee, Sword and Fire, and of course, all the early ones, like I just said. Now, I suppose a caveat you might want to think about this is this includes just the rules. It does not include the scenarios. Now, one thing that they did do, and the reason why this is important is because sometimes, and especially in the older hassles, they included SSRs on the back of scenario cards. So when you look in your table of contents, you'll see something called play aids. And what they've done wisely is that they've included on the back the SSRs that are sometimes included inside the scenario. In this case, not for that game, but Pegasus Bridge, I believe, has SSRs on the back of one of the scenario cards, and they have now included them inside the hassle itself right there. Right, so normally you'd be screwed if you didn't have access to these. In the proofreading copies that we were given to proofread, we do not have access to the SSRs. So it's a good decision on their part to include them. Otherwise, we'd be kind of screwed. So that's important. And the second thing that's very important is, as we said, it does include scenarios. Now, when you look at your Z modules, these are all the mini hassles. You're going to see things like singling, for example. Singling is, I haven't looked at the other Z modules myself. I don't own any of them. But singling campaign is a very short mini module, and it uses two scenarios as the basis for the campaign game, which you can't play without them. So this set of rules right now is meaningless because I don't have singling 1 and singling 2. I've got the map, great. I've got the rules for the campaign, great. But I cannot play this because I don't have singling 1 and singling 2, Abrams Charge, and I forget what the second one's called, which form the basis of the campaign. So buyer beware. You're not going to be able to play maybe some of the campaign games unless you actually own the product that these came in. So I don't know what MMP has planned for those cases. I assume at some point that they are going to be releasing scenarios for the hassles at some point. That might be the long-term plan. I don't know. But just be wary that you're not going to see any scenarios for any of the hassles in the hassle rulebook. But that being said, is it a worthwhile purchase? It depends, I guess, on your level of involvement in the game. Now, if you take me, for example, I've been playing this for a long time, and one of the things I've done is scanned all my documents. You can see here, this is my consolidated rulebook dated as of 2016 with all the errata, and these are all the hassles that I currently own, and I've scanned in all the rules. So I don't need any of the I don't need any of the hassles because of the I have all the rules. However, I still wanted to purchase it because, for one, the rules are a lot crisper, cleaner. They already incorporate all the errata, and I only had it as of 2016, with a couple of other ones that I get scanned from friends that I play with that lend me the rules. So this filled in the gaps for those missing ones that I didn't have. And so I felt no problem putting down $75 US, which turned out to be like 105 or so, 110 Canadian. And again, it just filled the gap for the ones that I was missing, especially like Bladed Reef Tarwa, which I have never played. I've had this for a while, and again, now that I have a nice, clean, updated, hyperlinked version of this, maybe I'll actually get a chance to play this one using Jorgen's solitaire rules, if nothing else. So I just want to go over the electronic eHASL rulebook and its hyperlinking capability with the electronic rulebook. Again, there's two variants that you're going to see on War Game Vault. Let me look at that quickly. I'll show you what I'm talking about there. All right, so when you come to MMP's page there, you're going to see you have the electronic and the electronic hassle rulebook. So when you click on each one, you're going to see different titles. All right, so there's two types that you can get. You can have 301 PDF and inherent zoom. Now, when you look at the inherent zoom, you ask, what does that mean? Basically, it retains your zooming of the page when you close it. When you open it back up, it'll inherit that. I believe that's what the intention is. Now, when you want to look at hyperlinking, it's only established in the 301 PDF, not the inherent zoom. Now, you have to collect the same version types for the eHASL as well as the ASL rulebook for the hyperlinking to work. So you can mix and match. Make sure you select the 301 PDF, and then when you go back to the electronic hassle rulebook, that you select the 301 eHASL rulebook PDF. All right. So again, you need to collect both of those 301 PDFs. You need to put them both in the same folder, and then your hyperlinking will work no problem. They finally fixed that bug. And yeah, so just a quick video to explain the eHASL. I think it's a worthwhile purchase. It's 75 bucks US. It'll be around 100 Canadian, and it'll fill the gap for those of you that have never really dealt with historical ASL. It gives you the rules again, no maps, no counters, no scenarios, and it'll hopefully help fill the void for some of that. If you do a lot of Vassal, you're not going to worry about counters and maps anyways. If you worry about if you do a lot of physical playing, obviously this is not going to be as useful, although more and more people are scanning the rules anyways, so it's going to fill that void too. I was going to say something else as well, which I thought was kind of important, but it skipped my mind. I think that's enough. Yeah, so just a quick look at the eHASL and it's how it's going to fit into your gameplay. Um, yeah, I think that's enough. Just a quick video. Like I said, I'm still on vacation, so it's a bit of a semi-scuffed kind of stream. Hopefully you find it useful. Um, you're probably going to be missing out on the box sets. Some of this is a lot of this is out of print, especially the earlier stuff from O to Valor of the Guards. At least is going to be out of print. Maybe they'll get around to reprinting them, but don't count on it. Um, the viewer count, I should say, the purchase count is going to be quite low, and a lot of this is not going to be seeing reprinting. Bridge Too Far is coming out in 4 bridges. Pegasus Bridge is coming out in 4 bridges, and the other ones are probably not going to see light of day anytime soon. So, this is another quick video. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.